What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be looking at 5 ways that you can become a better Sorare manager. As always, guys, if you have enjoyed the video, please make sure to like and subscribe. And if you've got any questions about anything which we've mentioned in this video, please let me know down in the comments. Let's get into the video. So the first way that I believe you can be a better Sorare manager is to go back through and analyze your lineups. And I'm going to go through a previous game week here and just talk through what I did wrong and what I've learned from actually looking at this. And hopefully you can get some value from that as well. So this was game week 473, so the start of May. And this team here actually did very, very well. We won about £30. We finished 30th in contender in season Div 2. Now, on the face of it, everything looks, pretty good. We've got 3 really good scores here from Arbia, Bradley, Danger or Danger, and Himad Abdelli, who was the captain, scored a perfect 100. So that was a very good choice there. Now we look at the issues here. So Conde, first of all, I believe we couldn't actually change. Actually, no. Counter that. We could have actually changed. So he could have been swapped and Corridor could have been swapped. Now, I was going to focus on just Corridor, but we'll do Conde as well. Obviously, we could have picked a different keeper here in Gertbar, who scored 75.2. That's like a 40-point difference. Now, obviously, both of these keepers weren't playing at home. However, Conde had been scoring well, but this matchup was actually worse. Whereas Wolfsburg were playing Altash, who are like one of the worst teams in the Austrian Bundesliga. So that was definitely mistake one. It was that he was on very good form. So I thought, oh, let's just go for the in-form keeper. However, sometimes you do have to play matchups. So that was error 1. Error 2 was playing Corridor over Gautier Hein. Now, both of these strikers were at home. However, because I was playing Danger here, I thought, okay, let's stack Corridor with him. Now, there's obviously not much correlation between a centre-back and a striker. However, I was like, it's a really good matchup. And yeah, Rodez actually lost 3-1. It was fortunate that we got the last man tackle and Corridor didn't score. Hein is a much better forward than Corridor and gets a lot better AA. Like here, even though he didn't score, still got 60.6 as his base score. And yeah, this was a error of stacking a full team at home. So I stacked Rodez here and Auxerre here. And if I just split up Hein for Corridor and picked the keeper that had the better matchup in Gertbauer rather than Conde, that would have been what? Let's have a look. Another 40 there, another 20 there. So that's another 50 points. And do the horrible thing of looking where 50 gets us. It would be somewhere around 4th, right? So that goes from a £29 prize to, let's say, 130 to £140, so like 7 times the actual prize. And that's just by making a couple of tiny tweaks and really just understanding the process of picking a winning lineup rather than doing things like stacking teams and going on like form. Just picking the best 5 players on that game week can be a really, really positive change to you and your gallery and obviously impact the amount which you win. The second way that I believe you can be a better Sorare manager is to have a look at other people and their galleries and also their lineups and just see if you can learn a little bit from them. Now, for me, I've built a watch list of just some people that I've spoke to and people that I watch their content and just like their gallery as a whole. And yeah, I just think trying to actually learn from them is a very, very good skill. If we go onto the gallery stats, you can see here, like overall, who's done the best and who's got the best percentage of winning lineups. You can see here, for instance, PSU's fans is very high. McBride, John Nellis, Sledino, Shani, Nep, Habus, all these people here have very, very good records on Sorare. So, for instance, let's just pick McBride as a random one, go on to his results and have a little look through. We'll have a look at, for instance, his last game week and just have a look at what he's doing in terms of his lineups, who he's captaining. Obviously, this is a great week for him here, and just seeing if we can actually learn anything. So, for instance, here you'll notice that he has, this is quite a random lineup, to be fair. But like here, playing Vandervoort when he isn't playing at home. Bardaki and Icardi, both not at home, but both on the same team. He's captain Tadic, who is the midfielder, playing at home. And he's also got Hill in there as well. If we look at his second lineup, which also won, he's got that same combination of goalie, defender, mid, forward. I'll be interested to see if that carries on. Yeah, once again, goalie, defender, mid, forward. So that seems like something which he does very, very frequently. For me personally, I normally do that, or I have like two centre backs if I quite like the chance of a clean sheet. But yeah, it seems like something that he does very, very frequently. Once again, here as well. Basically, all of these lineups here, which are winning prizes, they've all got that same combination of players. So for me personally, maybe I can do that more frequently rather than playing goalie, defender, midfielder, forward, defender, or playing two forwards. So yeah, definitely something which you can do to actually learn from other players on Sorare. You can build a watch list, go through, see if you can learn 1-2 things from each person, and then after that, you've got lots of little small ways which you can improve as a Sorare player. The third way which I think you can become a better Sorare player is to really understand the players in your gallery and how they actually score. So we're going to go through and have a look at Abdelli here, who is one of my cards, and have a look over the last year. So over the last year, 59, and DS, sorry, is 42, AA 17.4, so some nice AA there, 9 goals, 2 assists. The first thing that I would do is obviously have a look at when he's starting at home and away from home, what is the difference in his scores. So at home, that score jumps up to 62.1. He gets more AA, especially recently. You can see that he's been scoring very, very well. Let's just move the camera for you there. And then if we look at away from home, it's 55.8. So there is about a 7 to 8 point difference between when he's playing at home and when he isn't. And that's something which you will commonly see. There will be the odd player which scores better when they're not playing at home, but as a whole, most players will score better at home. And that will obviously change where you actually play him. If you see him playing at home in a really good matchup, he then goes into a better lineup. If he's playing not at home against maybe a stronger team, you then place him in a team which is a bit more of a throwaway, or one that you aren't really expecting anything from, or one that's got a few more risks in that lineup. Then I would then recommend looking at the actual scores. So if you click on the score down there, and then just have a look through and see how he's actually scoring his points. So not much in the general there. He made a few fouls. He won a tackle. For a player like him, the possession and the attack is going to be where he's scoring most of his points. You can see that he got 12 points from interceptions, 6.7 from accurate passes, got 8 points from final third passes, and 3.5 from long balls. And then in terms of attack, 13 points here, one contest, 3 attempted assists, and 12 penalty area entries. And he's a player which scores better when Angers are actually on top. So, for instance, this matchup against Dunkirk here, although he only scored 60, I knew that he would get a lot of AA in this fixture. Similarly, against Pau here, once again, when he's playing at home against a weaker team and Angers dominate on the ball, naturally his AA is much higher. And then if he can then get a goal or assist, penalty one, that sort of thing, that's when he's then capable of scoring those hundreds. And that's why I captained him in this game week down here. So yeah, really understanding how your players actually score impacts where you play them, which matchups you actually choose, and obviously the lineup which you then put those cards into as well. Okay, the fourth way which I believe you can be a better Sorare manager is to not force lineups. And once again, we're going to use a example from myself. This is something that I've done recently, and I keep telling myself not to do, and I keep doing it, is to not force lineups and not buy players just to actually enter a team. This lineup here, I already had Conde, Arbia, Danga, and Corridor, and I was like, it'd be a bit of a shame to actually waste those 4 players. So let's go and pick up Taibbi, who was, I believe I paid about £15 to £17 for. And yeah, I was like, obviously, if Rodez win against Saint Etienne, they'll then go through to the next round, have another fixture, and we might actually win something in this game week. Obviously, that didn't happen. We had some terrible scores in this team, and I now obviously can't use him until next season. And it was just a waste of £15. And I know it can seem like when you've got 4 players that you have to actually enter that team, and you have to obviously try and play. However, especially recently, with it being quite hard to win and quite hard to win decent prizes, it probably isn't actually worth it, especially for me looking back on this. Every single player in this team isn't playing at home, and as a rule, that's not really great. So yeah, I just don't think it's actually worth it forcing those teams in, especially for me here with all of those players not playing at home, not the best matchups. I've been much more beneficial for me and my gallery keeping that £15 and spending it elsewhere. And the last way which I believe you can be a better Sorare manager is to really focus on picking the right competitions and choosing carefully where you actually enter cards. Now, I made this error in the most recent game week. I entered this team on the screen here into Classic Challenger Div 2. And I didn't really check the prize pool. There is 557 entrants. And in terms of the prize pool, it pays to 31st. So obviously you can still win boxes, but yeah, what's that? Less than the top 5% actually win anything. And to be honest, you know, that's probably only really worthwhile being in the top 15, which is very, very low in terms of the chance of that happening. And I would have been much more better off playing this team somewhere else, for instance, in an all-star, probably in a cap 270, rather than actually playing here. I just didn't check. I assumed that the prizes would be better in here, and it obviously wasn't. The prize pools would have been definitely better in cap 270 in an all-star competition. Perhaps if I would have looked at different divs in Challenger. But yeah, really understanding where the best prizes are, where there's perhaps the least entrants but the most prizes, where there's a competition which really suits the cards in your gallery. Perhaps there's a game week where there aren't that many games on and you've got the best players from the best team in that game week. So really picking where you actually play your best cards and really understanding the prize pools is a really key point in how to become a better Sorare manager. Okay guys, that is going to be all for today's video. Please make sure to like and also subscribe. We are very, very close to 300 subs now. And if you've got any questions about anything which I mentioned in this video, please let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time.